The internet is a double-edged sword. From the best resource for learning to the best tool for people to use to tear down others' beliefs. We've seen the internet used for many different purposes for many different reasons. And honestly, it's very interesting, and I feel as if it's revealing about us as humans. We take this amazing innovation and we use it for our own agenda and to tear other people down instead of building them up. Or on the opposite side, we do use it very often to build other people up. It's very much so a double-edged sword. We don't have all the answers of what this does. All we know is that it does a handful of things and has a handful of effects. So my last video has been about the way time moves, and I feel like the internet and technology has a very big role to play in that specific situation. From slowing down time, looking at something really cool, or learning something to actually try a new skill to master. It can very much so be a helpful thing, but in other ways, especially with short form content, you can find yourself just scrolling for hours upon hours, mindlessly disconnected from society. And again, there is no evil or good in this particular scenario, but it found it odd that we, again, takes this innovation and warp it to our own desires. We bend it to what best suits us. And every single time I see something like this happen, whether it's me scrolling on YouTube Shorts for too long, it's somebody else mindlessly scrolling through TikTok, if it's somebody just so invested in what's going on in their phone, they don't even take a second to notice the world around them. It's very odd to me that we live in a place that this kind of thing can happen. We live in a world where the internet very much so brings out humanity. We see this in the fact that cyberbullying is such a very well talked about and very well explored topic, because honestly, it's very interesting that so many people take these things to heart, even though it's very easy to just ignore it. It's very much so a thing where the things that are said on social media end up shaping us as people, even though they're relatively meaningless in the grand scheme of things. And then there's also the theory of your digital footprint. Again, you probably heard about it in school or work or something like that, but what you leave behind on the internet is permanent. All these videos will never fully be gone from the internet. And I find it very interesting that even with that in mind, people still choose to do these things almost as if they have to. It's very, very much so a double-edged sword. And I don't feel like it has to be this way. I feel like technology is, in essence, a tool for learning. It's not necessarily a tool for social interaction. It's not supposed to be a tool for mass content consumption. It was made for basically just to be an easily accessible encyclopedia. We don't need to use it for social media, for content, for whatever it may be, but we choose to. And what we do with that choice is very important. What we do with the decision to make this content, to make those comments, to say those things, post that picture, those decisions are all impactful in some ways, and it's very easy to forget that with the way the internet is set up. It very much so makes you feel insignificant in everything you do, even though the effects very much so a ripple. Even if what you think you're doing is the smallest thing on this platform, it stems a lot further than you know. I've very much so found myself in thinking along those lines multiple times throughout this channel. I felt like it had no significance. It didn't really matter. But for my friends that took part in my videos, for the people that have seen my videos, and my friends that have created channels because I made videos, these are all impacts that I have even as a channel with 20 average views. We all have impact in some way, shape, or form. But it's just the problem of it feels so distant. The ripple, the last ring in the ripple is so far out, it's barely even felt, even though at one point it did stem from you. And we need to remember that. We need to remember that even in life, not even in the internet, that the things we do are more significant than we could ever understand. The things that we decide to create, the decisions we always make, have more of an effect than we would like to accept sometimes, and that's okay. Sometimes the ripples of your effects are not necessarily a good thing. It's like a game of telephone. You might have the best intentions, but it might end with the worst results. It's very much so amplified through the media, through the internet, things like that. And I just find it so interesting. And we also, again, cyberbullying. We seem honestly, again, that does play into the ripple effect, but we take cyberbullying far too seriously. Nobody actually really means the things they say on the internet. Most of the time, when you're getting attacked in some form of cyberbullying, something like that, it's not really meant and it's not really supposed to be taken to heart. But we see so many people struggling with mental issues stemming from cyberbullying because they end up taking these things too seriously. Because words can cut, even in real life, but in the internet it's so much easier for those people with malicious intent towards other to really reach an audience, and that's not exactly the greatest thing, but it's definitely one amplified through social media. But again, everybody is hidden behind a screen, almost as if it is a mask they put on their face so that they don't really feel the implications of their actions. In that way, the internet is very much so a bad place, but there's also the good, the learning, the community that's been built from it. I know personally, I have friends all over the world that I would have never met if not for technology, for the internet. And there are also things that I would have never learned. I've learned magic through the internet, and it's very much so a tool that can be used to help us. But so much of the time it is used for a tool to hurt others. So that is that video. I do thank you all for watching. I'm sorry if it sounded a little bad. I am coming down with a bit of a cold, so there might not be a video for another week. So I do hope you enjoyed. If you do like this sort of content, you can like and subscribe. Come back for more. I've really been putting in some work for some improvements around here, and I really do hope you appreciate that. Again, this whole channel is about asking questions, so I would like to ask you one thing. Do you think the internet is all good or all bad? Do you think it is a double-edged sword? Do you think there's good and all evil, evil and all good, the yin and the yang? Very much so a concept I love to talk about. But I would like to have a conversation with you all in the comments about that, and I'll see you guys next time.